Hello, today I show you my guide to Caverns of Time, Black Morass. I am right now in East Tonaris, as you can see on the map. You might ask, why should I run this dungeon? Here are some nice items you can get here. When you speak to the bronze dragon Antnormi, you can fly down the Caverns of Time to the dungeon entrance. Down here is a small camp. Here you have a quartermaster for the reputation faction Wardens of Time, an innkeeper, and also a general goods vendor. Take care, for the reputation you need corrupted sand. But 1 corrupted sand is 15 reputation worth, while 10 are 175 reputation worth. Now I show you the items you get with the reputation here. With friendly you get a Hearthstone for Caverns of Time. With honored you get 4 blue items, which are quite good. A mail wrist, leather boots, a caster ring, and also a plate head. With revered you get really good items. For example, the robe of the custodian. And also a cool dagger, called Claw of the Infinite, with plus to dagger. Now with Exalted, you get a bunch of cool items. Wing of the Time Lord with 2% increased attack and casting speed. Also a good healing shield, with plus 33 at heal and plus 10 intellect. Also 3 really strong weapons, you can see here. With a quite nice 20 slot bag here, but it is unique. You can also get 5,000 gold plus the reputation bonus amount here. It's the classical bronze drake, quite a prestige mount. Now let's head into the dungeon. Be prepared, this dungeon is quite hard for a fresh level 60 group. Our first enemies are infinite dragon spawns. They use rend, which is a dot, and cleave, which is an AoE, and they also decrease the armor by 50%. As you can see here, every enemy drops corrupted sand, and bosses drop around 10 till 20 sand. You need to roll 4 need every time you kill someone. I can recommend the add-on Lazy Pig, which rolls automatically for your sand with need. Take care at this place. Here are 2 groups and 1 enemy, which is patrol. If you pull bad you get stuck in combat, with all 5 of them like we hear right now. In the upcoming group fights, you need to be careful. Here is also a single enemy which is wandering around. The second type of enemy you need to take care of are Infinite Rift Guard, who can also rend and cleave as the enemy before. They also charge at you when you stay too far away and knock you back. They also have a demoralizing shout, which reduce nearby DPS from allies. Try to kite the two groups here away before the wandering Rift Guard is coming up to you, or else you will pull him, who will trigger the other group and you die with your group like we here. The next enemy is the Infinite Rift Weaver. They use Darken Vision and Temporal Conflux as dots and Mind Blast as damage ability. Now we try to kill the Infinite Rift Guard first, before we mess up another pull. You can skip this group, but you mostly want to do all the dragon's coups. You will get as much corrupted sand as possible per run. This looks like a boss, but it isn't. It's the Infinite Rift Lord. This enemy deals damage to all nearby enemies, who can also cleave, and has a demoralizing shout which reduces the damage of nearby allies. Now we come to our first boss, Chronar. He has a reflection spell. Caster shouldn't use damaging abilities when he uses this ability. He also uses Mortal Strike, which reduces incoming healing, and he will also slow the entire group by 60%. This is the loot table of Chronar. He drops 6 items. Another Infinite Rift Guard is wandering around here. Here is another Infinite Rift Lord. Don't use AoE damage or you will aggro the neutral enemies around him. The neutral enemies, called Time Anomaly, will use Arcane Explosion around them to deal damage. Echo of Time are using a variety of different arcane spells, as you can see here. When a temporal does get aggro, they will use a shock spell on the enemy, and they can burst the person for quite a lot of HP. Epidamu, as the next boss, a whelp in a side cave easy to oversee. He has 4 abilities which are already mentioned before. Epidamu's loot table has some cool items, like the extremely well crafted cuffs, Nexus shoulder pads or the MP5 totem for shamans. The Drifting Avatar of Sands. He uses blinding sands and knock back enemies after a certain time in combat. Drifting Avatar of Sands loot table has a few nice blue items, but surprisingly a strong epic won the lodestone. Time Lord Epochronos. This boss is pretty cool. He will summon 1 out of 3 echoes when he reaches 50% HP, and each one of them has a signature ability. He will also sweep you away with his tail when you are behind them and also breathe in a cone in FR. Onto him sand, which deals a lot of damage. Time Lord Epochronos. Loot table. He drops a 2% hit mail shoulders an interesting dagger and also a unique shield, but the most interesting item he drops is the Chronar breaker, which is an epic too. Hand Sword, which can grant you an extra attack on your next swing. The jungler creatures here can potion you and also stun you. Mossheart is an annoying boss cause he will poison and disease you with a nature damage dot, roots you, which is also a dot, and heals himself with a hot. Mossheart loot table. I think his loot table isn't really great, but here are his items. Antnormi is the end boss of the dungeon. He isn't really hard. He has a 5-second stun and he enrages under 25% HP. Antnormi's loot table. He has some good blue items, but he can drop to really good epics. The Eye of the Abyss, which causing attackers to flee as a neck for shadow priests and warlocks, and also the Shard of Eternity, which is a good trinket for all DPS casters. Rotmaw is the last boss in the dungeon. He can shred armor, stun someone, and applies a disease which slows your attacks. Rotmaw loot table. He has some blue items. But what is really cool is the 2-hand Merkfrischer, which he can drop. Now we come to the new trash items. Here you can see the drop chances of them. Chromie's Broken Pocket Watch is a favoured item by casters. Overcharged Belt is a nice item for arcane mages. Have in mind the increased duration is 1 second. Here also drops a really good bow. Thanks for watching. This is my first video I created. I would be happy about ideas how to make my videos better, and also let me know which dungeon or raid you want to see next time. Bye.